Welcome back to Etihad Stadium. As you can see, the roof is closed. The Bombers coming off a pretty heavy loss to Hawthorn to the tune of 38 points. The Saints had a real battle with the Bulldogs, but they couldn't manage to get over the line, eventually going down by just one straight kick. So two sides that are looking desperately to get back on the winners list. As you can see, both sides lining up in preparation for the tribute to Philip Walsh and his family. And our Master of Ceremonies for this presentation is Craig Willis.
Ladies and gentlemen, the AFL, Essendon and St Kilda football clubs wish to pay respect to Phil Walsh and the Adelaide Crows Football Club. Debuting in 1983, Phil Walsh played for Collingwood, Richmond and the Brisbane Bears. He coached in different roles at Geelong, West Coast and Port Adelaide, and was the senior coach of the Adelaide Crows. The football family mourns a great football man this weekend and sends its deepest condolences to the Walsh family and friends. On behalf of the Australian Football League, the Essendon and St Kilda football clubs, we ask you to join with the players and umpires to observe a moment's silence. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
So the two sides break. James Hird leaves the arena and his skipper prepares for his 200th game. Great effort by Jobe Watson, who was taken as pick number 40 way back in the 2002 draft. But we've seen a lot of improvement since that particular day from the Essendon skipper, a Brownlow medalist. And here he is now in the middle of the ground for the coin toss with his opposing captain, Nick Riewoldt.
Really interested today reading the paper about Jobe Watson, who did an interview Spartan there, how he really learned a lot about the mental side of the game. Did a lot of work with Ray Giles, who's a well-known boxing coach down here in Victoria. And after 3 or 4 pre-season, the penny dropped with him, and he went and took himself to another level with his fitness, and that's really been the catalyst for him being a great player.
No, he's been a super player. Been starting forward the last couple of weeks, and yes, you only remember milestones, Brownie, when you win. It's as simple as that.
Danny Frawley and Jonathan Brown, our special comments men this afternoon here at Etihad. The final words from the two skippers. Of course, Nick Riewoldt approaching a major milestone as well. This is game number 290. What a skipper he has been. 634 goals and an inspirational leader as he has his final words to his charges. Dyson Heppell doing a lot of talking in the Essendon camp. The Saints break. Do you like their chances, Danny, today?
Oh, it's a 50-50 game, Sandy. No, Danny. It's great to see Jack Sinclair back into the team. Obviously, Tom Curran, long-term injury list, were able to promote Jack Sinclair onto the senior list.
Yeah, that is good news. Let's go down to the boundary line once again. David King. Kingy?
We just want to see who starts in that forward 50 for the Bombers. They're looking for goal scorers. They're looking for scoreboard impact. It hasn't happened in the last month or so. Will it be Hurley that goes forward? It looks like he's going back at this stage. It's Danaher. Looks like Dempsey's going to start forward. The captain in Jobe Watson. Hooker's the one. Hooker's the one that's been rolled forward. So James Hird is rolling the dice here with his forward line.
Yeah, well, Hooker's probably... Hurley's been their best defender. Hooker's been outstanding in the intercept marks, but he's had a number of goals kicked on him the last couple of weeks. So pretty good move from James Hird, a brave move.
Saints kicking to the left of screen. Ironically, the Fletcher end of the ground here at Etihad. So here we go. It'll be Billy Longer up against McKernan at the opening bounce. And a perfect one it is too. McKernan got a hand to it. Longer drops on it. He's taken to ground. Tries to get it out. Jackie Stephen tried to steal it. trying to get clear but unsuccessfully was Webster. Eventually down towards the half-forward line through the arms of Hibbert. Gwilt gives chase, pushing towards the line, playing against his old side, and he sees it over the line.
Yes, he's playing against his old side. A big job today on Cameron Bruce. Great match-up, Brownie, Nick Riewoldt and Hurley, the best defender for the Bombers versus the best forward for the Saints.
Cam Bruce with 32 goals to his name for the Saints, and they're going to have to go through the motions again.
And of course we've got Joe Watson, the skipper in the 200 gamer, starting forward again with Sean Dempster, his direct opponent. There we see the boys. It's going to be a terrific duel.
McKernan, front spot. Ross got a hand to it, but that was all. Ray couldn't take it cleanly. Webster. Nunes pushes forward. The defence standing firm at the moment. It's shot out towards Cooney, who comes wide, but it's going to be intercepted by Stephen, who once again is having a prolific season. He goes backwards and finds Riewoldt.
Interesting to see Riewoldt starting behind the play here at the moment as a spare man almost.
He was manning up on Danaher as well, which was strange. Robertson heads wide. Membry,
it's a
good hands.
Beautiful kick, just a well-weighted kick to a forward.
And he might like his chances. He was having a crack in the warm-up from long distances.
About 6'2", Spud. Probably not quite big enough to be a traditional centre forward.
He played his best game for St Kilda last week.
He does like his chances and might as well have a crack early. No, he goes top of the square, fooled everyone including me. Bruce flies, can't mark it, hits the deck. Bagley lays a tackle. Zaharakis. Dempsey back with the flow, against the grain though. Handball back into the congestion. And ball caught into the umpire.
He's going to have to clear something. It was 16 Essendon players inside St Kilda's forward 50.
So Cooney is the recipient. From half-back, he goes wide towards the wing. It was Danaher who came over the top. Waiting down is Zaharakis. Heppel. Cooney's running with the flight of the ball, but he's lost it now. Longer did pretty well. Goes back in towards the forward line. It's only to see it chopped off once again. And Michael Hurley providing the defence.
Yeah, he was playing in front of Nick Riewoldt on that occasion. Full of confidence at the moment, Hurley. And when you play in front of Riewoldt, it's guarding the dangerous space that he can lead into. So,
and obviously, especially early on in games, Nick Riewoldt wants to lead up at the ball carrier, doesn't he, Spud? So Hurley's done his homework. He's got pretty good leg speed as well, and of course Riewoldt hasn't slowed down at all, even though he's in his 14th season.
113th game for Hurley. He goes up towards centre wing. Longer had front spot, couldn't complete the mark. Hooker caught. Gilbert had him locked up pretty well. Geary had it, but only for a moment before it goes to Jackie Stephen. Stephen bows backwards, but that's okay. Finding Dempster. Dempster's at half-back.
He's going to wait for Armitage behind the ball here.
Yep, he does. He may go even wider to Ray or come towards the wing. Bruce offers a long lead. No, finally he does. Off to Armitage. That little left foot flick towards Riewoldt. Got a bit of a shove that was picked up by the umpire, and it goes against Hurley.
It wasn't much. It was more the timing of that one, Brownie. It was innocuous, but just a bit early.
So Riewoldt back to Armitage. Heads wide, forward pocket, half-forward flank. Montagna too far out to score. Good centering kick. It's a good spot. Membry again. The second two grabbing. I reckon he might have a shot this time.
Yeah, the last two entries have been okay. I think last week St Kilda would be aware that they bombed the ball inside their forward 50. They had 13 more inside 50s than the Bulldogs. That's a much better entry.
Yeah, it was. They lacked composure going in, especially that last 10 minutes against the Western Bulldogs. They were all over them. Western Bulldogs have absolutely stopped to a walk, but they just blazed away the whole time. Spud, they obviously would have addressed that throughout the week when it comes to their entries inside 50.
Finished 18th last year, the Saints, with just 4 wins. I knew they had to find a few things this year. I thought they'd found a forward in Membry. Maybe they still have, but he needs to kick a little more accurately than that.
You've just got to kick those. You've got to kick those for a whole range of reasons. The confidence of a young team, individually and team-wise.
Hurley short to Bagley, called to go.
Oh, he's played on and around
over the line.
We'll go there picking those up, because that's an area of the game that's crept in, and the umpires are just allowing all these little short kicks. It has to go 15 metres.
So another opportunity for the Saints. Longer and McKernan once again. Goddard pushing towards the line, just keeps it in play. Heppel's in trouble, but he manages to get the hand pass back. They drift it towards centre wing, and a big pack of players with Danaher leading the charge in defence, knocking it over the line.
Yeah, Sam Fisher, his direct opponent. We see Fisher there playing the percentages, back into the team after 6 weeks with a hamstring injury. So, including the bye, it's a long time between drinks.
Almost down to the wing. Longer wins it again. He was looking for Stephen. Ross had it for a moment. So too did Farron Ray. Goes to ground. Stephen goes in hard once again. Cooney. Deft little hand pass towards Melksham. Stephen once more has followed play down, gives it to Dempster. Finally, they get a hurried high kick. That was by Webster. Up towards centre wing. Montagna, who was fantastic last week, gives it away to a teammate in Loney. He flicks it beautifully, and the Saints have got another opportunity to score.
That is as good a kick as you'll ever see.
How would you like to land on that one, Brad?
Oh, you love that. You love that as a forward, because usually what happens in that situation, when the ball's coming down wide, your defender will play the boundary side, because that's the most likely where the forward's going to lead. Memory, though, was allowed to lead up a little bit on the inside, but most players can't hit those kicks. I always say the only blokes can hit it are left footers, which is a good effort.
Third time lucky is it going to be for Membry from 47 metres. That looks better. That looks good. And the Saints are on the board.
Well, they needed that goal, Browning. They've dominated the start of this game. 5 minutes already. They're 5 inside 50. So, as you know, you need scoreboard momentum, but really good handball from Montagna, and the kick is just impossible to defend. That is 9.9.
Left footers have got a knack of being able to pull that kick off, and the great Simon Black used to be able to pull that kick off all the time, and sometimes you can get away with a bad lead by the forward, but good finish by Membry. Well done.
A really good start from the Saints, as you see there, the inside 50s, 5-0.
We talked to their coach Alan Richardson pre-game about having to flick the switch. Moment silence in the middle, and then to business, and business quickly for the Saints here.
Well, James Hird hasn't wasted any time getting his skipper Joe Watson into the action. Started the game on the half-forward line.
Third man up. They're practicing that all pre-game as well, the Saints. We'll talk to David King about that shortly, but it looks as if they're going to do that all afternoon. Robertson sides this inside 50, looking for a pass target. Steinberg, body on the line. It's his first game of the year. Back in the lineup, and boy, did he get crunched there.
Oh, it's terrific play from Steinberg, Brian.
Sinclair gets it out. Here's Loney again. Riewoldt won't miss from there. First two for the Saints.
Well done there. Good finish by Riewoldt. It was good effort by young Steinberg, who was fantastic in getting across. Look at this for great courage.
Yeah, good contest.
About to mark. Well done there, but the St Kilda guys will be able to react a lot quicker, and Loney's start's been fantastic. See young Jack Sinclair. Loney gets it through to Riewoldt. That's a real strength of St Kilda, is their small forward spud.
Well, it started with Jack Sinclair, as you said. There's the future for St Kilda. Jack Loney and Sinclair involved in that score.
Stephen and Membry, already 8 possessions between them, and the Saints off to a flyer. Longer and McKernan again. And again, a perfect bounce. Billy Longer got his fingertips to it. No one able to pick it up cleanly. Armitage is always working hard, so too Jack Stephen. Schneider unable to get clearly away. Now an opportunity for the Bombers to go forward for the first time. A chance to go inside 50. Belted away by Fisher. Geary has it now. In trouble. Got the hand pass away. It's flicked high towards the half-back flank, and the mark is taken by Weller.
St Kilda have been harder at the drop of the ball than Essendon at the moment.
It's terrific to see Fisher come off Danaher to inflict that spoil with Goddard and Dempster, and that's a sign of a young defence having trust with each other.
There's a Bomber in real trouble behind play. We'll keep an eye on it as Farron Ray goes back to Fisher. Fisher goes wider than Nunes.
Zaharakis.
Yes, there he is. Zaharakis.
Winded.
A great deal of pain at the moment. Let's hope that he is going to be okay. Geary's in the back pocket, and he has it now. Thought about going short to Stephen. Now waits for some movement.
Let's go long down the line to Longer here.
He does. He's told to go. Armitage is at the back there as well. In fact, it was Armour who affected the spoil. Stephen comes through. Thought about giving it to him. then lost it, tried to regain it, is unsuccessful, and it is locked up with Danaher, and we've got another ball up.
So Goddard and Cooney and Hooker playing out of full forward at the moment. It's a strange full forward line. The three of them up there waiting for it. Geary's got it, gives to Schneider. Saints away to Ross. Riewoldt on a hard lead. Only ever goes on hard leads. Look at that. That was a 50-metre lead at full tilt.
Impossible to defend, Blaine. When you got space to lead into light as well, Brownie.
Gilbert got it from Schneider.
Just amazed at how well he still moves, Sputter. Nick Riewoldt.
Got a couple of seasons left in him, you'd think. 300 games plus.
Definitely.
He hasn't lost his speed. That's been the key to it.
Yeah.
Hoping for a big Membry or Bruce leap. Ball to the back. Spills for Montagna. Keeps it alive. Armitage. Some space. Breaks a tackle. Tries for the miracle. Bends it around. No one's in the goal square. And Danaher, all the way back at fullback, takes the saving mark.
So the Saints doing the bulk of the attacking at the moment is Steinberg.
Setting up very quickly defensively at the moment. The Saints reacting well. It's good signs by him early.
Out to the outer wing. Savage was a flyer. Merritt waiting down. And one of his early touches over the head of Goddard up towards the half-forward line. Hooker now gives it off towards Heppel. Can they produce something here? Runners out wide. Zaharakis has recovered. Not 15, so he's called to play on. 2-on-1 battle here. Melksham couldn't take it. Montagna outstanding last week with 35 disposals. Gets it away, and the Saints are out of trouble once again. Coming down towards half-back, Jackie Sinclair back in the side this week. Took the mark, and they play on. Through half-back, in towards the middle. Bruce is a long way from home. Great intercept by Gwilt.
Didn't mind the Saints going on through the middle. It was just that last kick that hurt the Saints.
O'Brien short. That's okay. To Hibbert. Longer. Up towards full forward from the back, but Carl Hooker takes the mark, and he'll go back and should kick Essendon's first goal from 25 out directly in front.
Now, it was a terrific long kick. You could see Fisher guarding the dangerous space in front, and it was sat right on top of his head, which gave him no momentum to move. You can just see here that the kick from Hibbert was a really good weighted kick to a forward.
Well, he made the decision quickly, didn't he? He was 70 metres out from goal. He knew he could get the ball about 20 metres out. That's been a real problem for Essendon, where they're landing the ball when they enter inside 50.
Sent forward today. He's kicked 1 goal so far this season. Now he's kicked 2. Hooker gets his first. The Bombers get their first.
Which is all week spend a lot of time on their matchups, and when they put someone who's been playing predominantly as defence down forward, you need to have instant impact, and they've been able to do that. And as you said, the kick from Hibbert was far too good there, Brownie.
Yeah, it was really good. He identified there that he had a one-on-one deeper in the contest. Obviously, Hooker marks it really well. He's taken a lot of intercept marks, obviously not the forward line, but was able to finish that against Sam Fisher.
Just his 9th goal in 124 games.
Surprised he actually went forward. I thought Hurley may have gone forward. He spent more time as a forward in the past.
McKernan into the ruck. Longer. Neither got a piece of it, really. Merritt gave it to Heppel. Tucks the call. Hooker goes hard. Knocked to ground. Melksham. Webster ran him down. Caught him. Forced him to go to the line. We'll get a ball in.
Tackling pressure from both sides. Brownie's been terrific. 10 tackles each.
And a good crowd in here for this clash between two Melbourne-based teams head-to-head. Home ground. Mad scramble. Montagna. And a good smother off Savage's boot. And Cooney rings around Etihad Stadium. 13-6. Tight contest.
Longer with the left arm wins it. Now the Ray hand pass is okay to Geary. They're out of trouble. Ray running onto the left boot goes Robertson.
Good kick under pressure.
Well done. Loney came back at the kicker there. He needed something.
Ray's followed it down. He kicks wide. Heppel, Gwilt, both combined on the last line of defence, and it's going to be Gwilt who takes it back again. Only to see a wonderful smother. So they're able to keep the ball in their attacking zone We've got a throw in the right forward pocket.
Beautiful smother there from Jack Sinclair. The thing I like about him, Brand, he's just a footballer.
Yeah.
Plays the angles well, good disposal.
Looks like he's about 12.
And good to see him back, Spud.
Yes, obviously, unfortunate for Tom Curran, Sandy broke his leg, which is a long-term injury, which allowed St Kilda to promote Jack Sinclair.
Still in their attacking zone. Merritt had a hand on it, but that was all. Goes back towards centre wing. Fisher has it fisted away by Danaher. Danaher's got to beat 4 of them here. He's surrounded. Gilbert and Savage applying the pressure, and it's taken over the line.
It was a good play, Sandy. Terrific by Danaher. It was probably 4 against 1 there. The only option was to go to the boundary. Good punch, good follow-up, good agility by the big man.
13th and 14th on the AFL ladder. Both teams 4 wins, 8 losses. So we expected it to be close, and it might be close all afternoon. They played earlier this year and it was close. 2-point win for the Bombers as Gwilt goes across. Defensive goal to Stanton. They should be out here. Gleeson can go. He's got a couple of options inboard. Kick needed to be better than that, but it might still work. Zach Merritt got it from Melksham. Squeezed it forward towards McKernan. Spent that before it earned it. And caught as he earns it. Stephen knocked it out just in time to Webster. To Geary. Through his legs. Zaharakis closes in. Stephen mops up that little mess. Goes for some ground. Kept it alive. Maybe to his detriment.
That was a clever kick, Dwayne, because he's kicking to a 3-on-1. So he was able to keep the ball in. No option at all there. Both sides really playing in front of their forwards as a defence.
Knocked down McKernan. O'Brien feeds it back to McKernan. Looked at Zaharakis and ignored that option in the end. O'Brien inboard. Hibbert caught. Threw that away. Umpire said it was okay. Gleeson. McKernan. 1-on-1 forward. Watson. Got rid of Dempster. Hands it off to Goddard. Nice movement. Dempsey spills it. Puts it to grass. Savage. Fisher. Geary. Saints get the numbers back and should get out of trouble here. Webster's got a couple of options. Goes with a wider one. And Heppel thumps it over the boundary.
Spud, they just can't handle the Saints' pressure at the moment, the Bombers. They've been fantastic. Absolutely in a frenzy around the drop of the ball at the moment, the St Kilda defenders.
And this is the way they've been playing in recent weeks. You know that you're going to get a darn good contest each time you run out onto the park, as Ross gets a hurried high kick. Didn't really look where he was kicking.
That's the last place you want to go under pressure. You know there'll be an extra player in the middle of the ground.
And Steinberg it was who comes out wide and finds Gleeson. He pumps the Bombers inside 50 once again.
Just can't happen there. They need to at least get the ball to ground there, the Essendon forwards.
Rewalt is tucked in the back pocket. Seven-point ball game, favouring the Saints. They got away early in the term, but that kick's going to be intercepted by Bagley.
Now it's Essendon's turn to dominate the inside 50s. They've had the last 4 entries, repeat entries, the Bombers.
Tight angle, and he's going to be kicking from just over 50. So he goes to the top of the square. Longer has front spot. Rewalt is there as well, and it's the latter who takes the mark.
That's 2 in a row.
They had to halve that.
Yeah,
the Bombers
halved it.
Changes direction this time, goes to Armitage. He doesn't let him down. He's been fantastic this year. Loney
from Membry.
Up towards Membry. As you could hear Spud say, they've got players trying to make ground. One of them was Webster. Bruce, Webster, they both go to ground, and the ball finishes over the line.
So he led 120 metres then, Bruce. He was actually just about spent on the lead, but it was a really good entry.
He's got a good teacher in Nick Rewalt, so he's obviously followed on from his work rate. Really good lead.
Longer beaten. But won't get it out of that. With Schneider at the bottom of the pack, another stoppage.
Interesting to see the matchup. Hibbard this week is on Membry. Last week he was on Jack Gunston, so certainly giving away a few centimetres.
Ross got the flick down, gave it back to Longer. Square, Gwilt. Dangerous punch though, and Bagley thumps it through for a behind. And the ex-Saint has to There's some adjustments to his boot. Stanton, short pocket, just the required 15 to Hibberd. One late change for the Bombers. Winderlich out, Howlett in. He's the sub. Gilbert got rid of his man Hooker. Hooker plays on into trouble, got around Weller. O'Brien, Kearney, Kavanagh, and he can go. Plenty of space. Danaher running back towards goal. He put it a bit too wide. Might still collect it. Fisher hems him in. He couldn't collect.
It's really disappointing there, Spartan. They need to be a deeper entry that was more central. They're in a central position, really good. It was a poor kick. Danaher was one-on-one. They just need to go long to the top of the goal square. Allow Danaher to use his height.
Almost 21 minutes played. Armitage close to the boundary line. Keeps it in play. Finds Membry.
Finding a bit of the footy on Hibberd early. I'll have to watch that match up.
So the Saints forward. No pressure on Schneider.
Good run from
So you can have a look. And that's a great run and an excellent mark.
Well, I think it was poor by the Essendon midfielders and defenders to get. They at least should have been defensive side of their men. Spud, I thought they were a little bit lackadaisical running through the midfield. They allowed St Kilda to get goal side of them. Nunes was able to get forward and take a mark. I think Stanton will be disappointed with his first 5 or 10 metres. He needed to sprint earlier and get in front of his man.
Really every game, Jack.
Yep. Really good kick from Schneider too through the middle of the ground.
Let's see if he can finish it off. Just a couple of goals to his name for the season. Directly in front, and he makes no mistake. Saints have got their third, and Nunes has got his first.
Really like this young fella, Spud, Nunes. I think he's had a really good season. Not sure how he's rated at St Kilda, but obviously he rated pretty highly on the form this year. You just see this ball move. Schneider identified out there in the open. Nunes was able to get goal side of his opponent, and Brent Stanton there. Just thought they were a little bit sloppy, the Essendon defenders. Good finishing by St Kilda boys early.
The thing that James Hird would be disappointed then, no one came at Schneider. He's in the middle of the ground on his own.
James Hird on screen, and just to reinforce your point, Brownie, Jack Nunes every game this year and last year just keeps on keeping on, reliable without being the star of the show. And they've got a few that are growing into stars of the show at the moment, the Saints. Goddard goes back to Bagley, all the way back to Hurley. Gets his way around Loney and thumps it wide, but Savage should cut it off. And again, this work rate. They work enormously hard, the Saints players. You can see them sprinting 50, 60 metres to get into the holes. They create
possession already, Membry.
Weller. And here they go on the open side. So Webster comes hard. It's almost a mark. Dempsey nearly stole it from him. Gilbert parts the seas straight through the middle of them. Riewoldt lurking. Bruce instead.
Oh, great forward connection. You'd see Riewoldt go for the contest. Bruce was still on the move.
Yeah.
I think Gilbert was going to Riewoldt in his defence, but that's what you want for forwards. You want to separate. You don't want to be in the one position, and he just let over the top there. You can see Hurley's very frustrated. That's St Kilda's
the blocking free kick.
St Kilda's 26th uncontested mark to 16, so full of gut running at the moment, the Saints team.
They look like they're working harder across the field, don't they, Spud? This bloke, I've been impressed by him this year. He looks like he's got a huge engine, Spud.
And they have robbed Peter to pay Paul here. Hooker forward. They might have to put him back for a little while to stop this, because there's some danger signs. Biggest margin of the game now, 20 points.
Brownie, you read it right. Bruce's motor is big, and Gwilt will know he's played a game. He's got the biggest motor with Riewoldt there, so you can see the Essendon players in the middle of the ground all converging.
They sent Hooker back.
Yeah. Well done. He is going back, and that's, you're probably right. When you have a look at the inside 50s, and it's all St Kilda at the moment, you've got to put one of your better defenders back. So a win already for the Saints.
Josh Bruce gets his first goal. He booted 3 last week, and the Bombers, as you've said, have made the move. Hooker sent from the other end of the ground.
He's a spare man at the moment. He is. He's playing around Nick Riewoldt.
That'll release Sam Fisher at the other end.
Bombers trying to stem the tide, but it's Armitage again who pumps the Saints high inside 50. Can Gwilt spoil? No, he can't. Bruce takes the mark, 48 out.
That's just too good. That was just too big, too strong and too mobile there for Gwilt on that occasion.
Got a few problems here. Memory's been able to get quite a lot of the footy. Obviously, Bruce lining up for his second already. So James Hird will be spending plenty of time in the coach's box at the moment trying to sort these matchups out. And what do they do?
That's their 6th mark inside forward 50 in the first quarter.
Staying in touch with the leaders in the race for the Coleman. This is for goal number 34 for Bruce for the season. And just drifting away to the left for one behind.
Now, 6 marks is far too many. If they keep this current rate up, that'll be 24 for the game. I think the league average is about 13. So
over 12 is good spot.
Hurley Longer stands under it and takes the pluck, although Hooker was nudged out and maybe illegally.
It's going to Robertson.
Okay, so Robertson and the contact.
This has been a big difference too. The aerial contest, St Kilda are dominating those as well, Spud.
Ground level, 36-21 the Saints. As you said, the contested marks and the want to compete is all St Kilda's favour.
So Robertson with 1 minute 12 left. Keeps it low to the hot spot. Danaher read it to perfection. But that's not the kick you wouldn't think. Hurley. Danaher. Hurley. And it's coming straight back with interest.
That's the problem. Essendon had a tendency to kick short too much out of defence.
Longer, Robertson and Bruce. That is beautiful to watch if you're a Saints fan. They are picking Essendon apart.
David King, what St Kilda forward line are doing well are forcing Essendon to overuse the handball. Normally they're a short kicking team, but they're teasing him into kick the ball hurriedly under pressure.
You dance with the devil against the Saints when you flick the ball around by hand because their pressure is first class. It's probably their main asset. If the Bombers can break it down, they'll score, but if they can't, the Saints will score at will as they are now.
This is for a 27-point margin in the shadows of quarter time. He likes it off the boot. He loves it. And he's got a couple. And the Bombers have problems.
Yeah, they do. Real problems here. It's been set up by the pressure. St Kilda the last 4 weeks actually ranked number 2 in the competition with their pressure differential compared to the opposition they play that week. And you just see here, they're small forwards led by Loney and Sinclair, and those guys put an enormous amount of pressure. And they're able to get some quick entries where the defender's not close enough to their forward. They get some uncontested marks like that, and already they've taken a high amount of marks inside 50. But they just look like they've got more energy across the field, got more run, more tackling pressure. Been fantastic, St Kilda.
The thing that I'm looking at the moment, Brownie, is that there's a lack of body language from the Bombers at the minute. They look listless.
They do at the moment, but it's been a fast start by the Saints as the first term comes to an end. Weller goes down towards the half-forward line. Bagley couldn't take it. Gwilt's hand pass was like lightning. But look at the pressure they're under. Gang tackle as the siren sounds. And it ends a blistering first quarter for the Saints. They've shot out of the blocks. And they booted 5-3, 33, and restricted Essendon to that one solitary goal kicked by Cale Hooker. So the Bombers have got work to do here at Etihad. It's the Saints leading by 27 points.
Rewalt's been good. Bruce has had his couple of shots on goal already. So there's real problems for the Essendon defenders and what the correct matchups are.
Well, Hurdy's gone back to his original plan. He's pushed Hooker forward to full forward again. So Hooker started forward.
Yeah, he has to do that, Dwayne. They need to win the game of football. There's no use trying to save it now after a lacklustre first quarter.
McKernan got the palm down, but they might not get the clearance here. Stephen tried to shovel it out. Heppel, Stanton, and he drives it long. Hooker won't get a run at this. He does in the end, got hands to it.
Really
just held off it at the last second. Robertson, Merritt thumps it towards the line.
A really good play from Gilbert and Fisher in the air there. The last thing they need to do is get Hooker and Danaher in form at the start of this second quarter to give their midfield some confidence.
It's an Essendon home game. The Bomber fans starting to find some voice. Trying to generate some momentum. Zach Merritt bangs it inside 50. Danaher crunched in that marking contest. No free. Fisher. Handball missed his target. Nunes dragged down.
Good body work from Fisher, but you can see Joe Danaher in a couple of pre-seasons, Brownie, he's going to be able to hold those defenders out. At the moment, he just needs to work on his core strengths.
Fisher was third man up. Farron Ray. Round the body. towards the half-back line, but an excellent grab taken by Heppel, so he plays on quickly to Hibberd. Hibberd goes backwards. An interesting kick. His target was Gwilt. He's going to get caught by Bruce. He goes again. Bruce continues the chase. Gwilt gets the hand pass wide. He's going to get out of trouble with Hurley combining. Back towards Gwilt. They're not out of it yet. They won't get out of it. Bruce is going to steal it. Can he kick a goal? 50 metres out. He sets sail for home. What a start by the Satyrs in the second term.
Beautifully called, Sandals. What about the pressure from Bruce? Look, the kick wasn't great to Gwilt, let's face it. You've got to hit the target. Everyone's focused on Gwilt, but the target should have hit. It should have hit Gwilt there, and Bruce just found a way to keep in the contest. And that's the beauty about St Kilda at the moment. The young team, look at Gwilt, Bruce, second effort, third effort on there on Hurley. A great effort there from Dunune. So 5 efforts from Cameron Bruce has ended up in a goal.
Don't want to overstate it, but that's a contender for goal of the year. He caused the smother, 3 efforts in the chain, and kicked the bomb.
He spoke about his work rate and his motor. He's got high energy, and that's a good thing about St Kilda. Got Riewoldt and Bruce getting across the field.
Look at the pressure scores from turnovers. 4 goals, 1 to the Saints. That's work rate.
McKernan thrown out of it. So much to like about the Saints at the moment. Stephen goes wide. Farron Ray. Got Membry running for him. He sits it on his head a little. Melksham, third man up, and Membry still makes the contest. Armitage put his head down. Gave to Membry. Flicks it back, hoping for Schneider. Heppel. Baggerly. Steinberg. Baggerly. Crutch. Got out of Stevens' tackle. And a bouncing ball to the wing. Robertson tried to weave some magic. Turned it over McKernan. Merritt, Stanton, Melksham. Caught by Ray.
So again, the pressure of St Kilda are forcing Essendon not to get an uncontested mark and handball. So unless Essendon slow the tempo down around half-back line, they're going to be playing into this fanatical pressure that St Kilda are putting on at the moment.
Spot on.
Just being strangled at the moment. McKernan couldn't get much of a hand to it. Billy Longer picks it up. Decides to kick down towards half forward. Schneider's lurking now. There was holding on there. It's going against Bruce. It'll be taken by Gwilt.
So they just need to take the juice out of the game a little bit here, Essendon. Don't be afraid not to kick the ball back.
One disposal in the first term. Tries to get them going about now and should kick the goal.
Really good build-up, Sandy. Coming, hit him up at centre forward, then was able to turn around and get a one-on-one deeper. The top of the goal square. Good decision here. Good long kick. He's done that twice now, Hibberd, where he's gone in deeper to a one-on-one contest. We saw it in the first quarter where he was able to hit Hooker about 20 metres out from goal. This time, Cooney was able to take a good contested mark.
Missed 5 games.
So in the middle of the
ground,
a bit of a
Loney's down for St Kilda in the hands of the trainer.
You watch that and I'll watch ball.
Sandy, I just saw Loney go down. I'm not sure. He's saying to the doctor there, Tim Barber, that maybe got a high, somewhere high around the neck region. He looks okay, which is great news for Saints supporters, but it was a fair old mouth. Nothing in that, was it? I think he's just fainted.
Bit of a whack on the shoulder.
That was one angle of it. Be interesting to see the front-on angle, but you do have to protect your 18-year-olds. He's an 18-year-old kid, really.
No doubting that.
The Saints fans need to show some strength here and protect their man as well, but the Bombers obviously need to...
It looked like Bagley definitely threw a punch, but did it hit him in the arm, bicep or the head? He went left to right. Let's have a look at this replay again with Loney just below the circle, and oh yeah, that angle didn't look too good, and Riewoldt was all over it. Just this...
I still think it hit him in the shoulder.
Not a lot in it, Danny. Not a lot in it. He went down pretty easy. I think he was trying to reverse the kick, which was a set shot at goal for Adam Cooney. Not a lot in it.
Danaher paid the mark. Comment from David King, dual premiership player, down on the boundary line towards centre wing. McKernan takes a good mark.
Going to halve that contest.
Just goes short, finding Melksham. Just from 52. Starts it right, and it's going to stay that way, but a good strong marks taken by Hooker.
That's inexcusable. The 3 defenders there having a look around at each other. Geary, Gilbert. I think Farron Ray was behind the ball as well. At least you've got to do is halve the contest.
This could be for a PB, lads. He's never...
When he's playing full back here.
Geary furious, having plenty to say too. As Hooker lines up for his second to bring the Bombers back into the game, and he's missed.
He still hasn't got his PB, Kingy.
Way to go, Kingy.
He's got plenty of time. We've got 2.5 quarters.
You could stop a train, Kingy.
I didn't say it.
Bombers had to come from behind in round 5 to beat the Saints. They're going to have to do it again today.
That's a very deflating kick, though, from the Bombers. That would have given them a little bit of momentum.
It's been a problem all year for the Bombers. It's been the set-shot goal kicking.
Would have been 2 goals at Savage. Armitage worked hard for him. Now he's got a couple of options. One's Membry long over the top, and he goes for that option. Why wouldn't you? He put it to grass, hands it off. Sinclair keeps it low, drives it home. And he's got 2.
If you see the forward craft there, Brownie, you had Bruce getting onto his bike, leading from where Membry was, and then Membry ducked into the hole. So down the ground here, you can see the ploughing through the middle of the ground. You just don't see Cameron Bruce early, isn't it?
It is. Great connection. Good chemistry between each other. It could have been, quite often you'd see with young forwards, they'd lead to the same spot there. Well done, boys.
Once again, out to a 33-point lead. The Saints who soccers off the ground and gains 30 metres. Plenty of red and black in that vicinity, however. Saints somehow managed to get it out. Jack Stevens in the thick of things once again. Spear absolutely everything at the moment. The dribble kick is good. Saints are just pouring it on at the moment. They can do no wrong.
Well, welcome to the future, Saints fans, and football in general. You see Sinclair kicking one, and then Jack Loney there. When you're hot, you're hot. Talk us through the degree of difficulty, Brownie. You've played forward line all your career.
How many of these did you kick, though, Brownie? In your 800, 900?
Not a lot. I have to go through the archives, but I reckon it'd be pretty short. Look back, it's fantastic. Obviously, it's the only option. He had no one in board, but the guys practice had a lot of training nowadays. But he does some really good efforts at ground level there, and a good finish.
And that'll be recalled. They've got a couple of blokes by the name of McCartan and Hugh Goddard just floating around that haven't really been given a full-blown opportunity. Hugh Goddard was a chance to play against his rally today. He made the 25 but not the 22, and we've seen McCartan a little bit, but I think we're going to see them both a lot.
Well, that's important. You don't want to throw young key position players into the fire too early, and that's
what was out injured that they brought McCartan in probably earlier this year.
Well, and the team have that experience around them.
Watson tried the quick flick. Heppel wasn't quite ready for it.
Indication there of this ball. Essendon trying their hardest to work the ball forward, but St Kilda just pushing them backwards.
Oh, and Zaharakis caught from behind. Loney just crept up on him, and there's the pressure. Still hands off to Stanton. 52-13. Who went out?
They're just playing great defensive footy, and I think if you have that as a starting point in any game, whether you're a forward, defender, midfielder, and you just find a way. This is what the veteran Sam Fisher did. He just found a way to get a fingernail.
Rattle the Bombers, and they certainly are at the moment. Gwilt kept in by Hibbert initially, off to Cooney. Pumps it just over the 50. To the Saints playing in front. Mark Montagna beaten by Bagley. Steinberg goes to ground. And a stoppage just forward of the wing for the Bombers. They're in desperate trouble on the scoreboard. 8-4 to 2 goals 1. Schneider almost threw that ball away. Cooney eventually stole it.
Centre half back, so he's doing his job for the team. And Gwilt, he's had 10 as well. So both defenders leading the possessions for the Bombers.
And on the other scale, on the other side of the coin, Spud, Joe Watson has had just a couple of disposals.
Zaharakis.
Yep. Melksham gives it off to Stanton, and that may tell the story. Caught.
Yeah, the tackling pressure again. It can't be denied. If you've got this work rate, 31 tackles to 20 at the moment, Saints' favour.
Longer to Armitage to Stephen. In the engine room. And about to go open for Heppel. No, Nunes continued on. Gives it to Montagna. Was he shoved in the back? They're on him now.
Good decision by the umpire there. It was in the side. Ball up. Good call.
Saints have kicked. Cooney looked for a handball option. There was none. Goddard held by Dempster. And they need a break or two.
I reckon a good guide to seeing lose possession. They get great positioning, exactly like we're seeing in front of us here, with Nunes getting great positioning and being able to come and intercept. Their defence-first mindset, Spud, is fantastic.
Yeah, they're coming forward, Kingy. They're taking the game on, and every time Essendon look up, as you said, they're looking at a red, white and black jumper.
And floating in front, Marcus Geary feeds it back again. Kick. Somers right now.
Well, that's what Kingy was talking about. The ability to come off your man. Normally an easy kick for an Essendon defender. Geary's sprinted 30 metres to create that sprawl, and that's why Montagna's got a shot at goal.
Come forward to defend really well, don't they?
Sneaks it in, and the Bombers are at breaking strain.
Brandon, I think the big improvement for St Kilda, have a look at this, 2014, you're ranked 17th. This year, they're ranked 6th, so they're creating more opportunities when the ball's inside their forward half, and that's a really positive sign from, yes, it's got Riewoldt there, but you have a look at the other forwards, the average age is about 20, so really positive sign there for the Saints.
13 scoring shots to 3 at the moment.
It's 13 scoring shots for 20 entries, so that is a really good percentage.
And Bomber fans here at Etihad, and there are plenty of them, stunned.
They're stunned. They are stunned, Sandy.
Longer and Stephen. No one able to take it. Watson trying desperately to get into the game, but he can't at the moment.
Well, I've been looking at Jobe for a couple of minutes. As you said, he's only had 2 disposals, both handballs. Not sure whether he's 100% fit at the moment, the Essendon skipper.
He was third man up on that occasion, just tries to shovel it forward. Whelan went for the bump instead of the tackle. The door open for Heppel. Kicks it down towards Hooker in the forward line. Pressure on the Saints' defence, but they've been equal to it all afternoon so far. And Dempster to Geary is good. Geary's called to go, and he does. He's got Robertson. Robertson can come laterally to Schneider, and he finds that man on the half-back line. Schneider recovers and just pops it out in front of Savage, who's usually a very good deliverer with the football. This is no exception to Bruce. Couldn't quite complete the mark. Montagna keeps it in play. Goes down the line. That's good. And the Saints absolutely dominating at the moment.
Before the ball, St Kilda, Bruce dropped the mark, but there was 2 players to receive the crumb. Their work rate defensively is terrific, but when the St Kilda players get the ball also, they're always at the drop of the ball.
The work rate both ways is a lot better than Essendon at the moment, Spud.
Jack Loney for his second. Tight angle. That'll be the problem. Distance won't be. This for the Saints' 10th. He tumbles a somewhat ugly-looking punt kick through from behind.
Yeah. Didn't quite get that one, Brownie.
9-5.
Brownie, just having a look at the Saints brand, it is to lock it in the forward half, it is to play with pressure. They've forced the Bombers into only 10 turnovers in their defensive half, but they've scored 5 goals too from those turnovers. I mean, it is a massive advantage to have a brand of football that's working so well.
Yeah, it is, Key. Very good point. I want to know, what's the voice and instruction like down there, Key, from the St Kilda players? Because defensively they've been fantastic.
They don't really say a lot. Their instructing is they point a lot. You can see a lot of pointing going on here. You can see them getting organised. They look well organised. This is a team that's well drilled through the week. They just drop into the positions they're required by their teammates and by their coaching staff. It's all automated.
It's going to the formula for Alan Richardson right now. 18th last year, just the 4 wins last year. This is for their 5th win of the season this year. With still 9 games left in the home and away season for all teams after tonight. Huge upside. Mathematically, their finals chances would still be alive, which is something to play for at least, even though deep down we all know they're probably not going to make it. Webster threw that away to Savage, who's gang tackled to the deck. Still a lot of game left in this, and the Bombers did come from behind earlier this season to beat the Saints. Good feed, handball feed, wide feed to Montagna, who is free. Who does he want? Too much time almost. Little 1-2, Robert, and he might go for it himself from the angle. It's coming back, it's coming back, it's a ripper.
Party time here at the Saints. There's some of the best shots at goals you'll see. Bruce is in line for the goal of the year, and Joey said, well, I'll have a crack at it as well.
What about the smile on his face?
Well, it's been a long time coming. As I said, I think that the big improvement in St Kilda, we see The follow-up here from Montagna is beautifully called, Dwayne. He just gives the first handball and the ability to go again. I think that they want to get the ball in their hands, and that's what happens when you gain confidence such as the young St Kilda team at the moment.
The smile tells the story. Second and third efforts, though, outstanding from the Saints. 2 to Montagna. Saints have got their 10th, and this is turning into a rout. Back in the middle, McKernan went early. Long was trying to find Armitage, but it's Heppel who takes it out of the middle. Kicks it wide. The race is on. Sam Gilbert might get there first. He gets a hand to it, and it's taken over by Merritt.
Yeah, the unfortunate part of that hook, he's showing his frustration there with Jimmy Webster, is probably hasn't had the opportunities to perform as a forward. He's taken a couple of grabs in there, but deprived of opportunities.
Longer wins it. Merritt can't get it away. Weller has him locked up.
He did have their momentum in his hands, though, when he had that shot and missed it from 8 metres out.
Yep. That would have been back-to-back goals, Wayne, and something that the Bombers players, you could just see the air taken out of their lungs when he missed that shot at goal. But you've got to be better than that. You've got to get involved in the next contest, and that's what they've been unable to do. The contested ball is 48, St Kilda 63. That is an absolute hiding.
Heppel, third man up. And he's got the free kick.
He's tried hard.
Yeah.
He's playing a lone hand at the moment.
Oh, 50.
You could hear the umpire say to Newnes, it's got to go back on the full.
I think Newnes is saying that it slipped out of his hands, but
it's got to go on the full.
Yeah, the umpire said it all.
That's it.
So an opportunity, and a rare one, for a Bomber shot at goal.
Book? It's got to go back on the full.
Well, I think it's got to go straight back to them, but
not sure. I think that's a little bit overzealous, but if it's in the rule book, the umpire's got to pay it.
Heppel, in game number 97, he gets the goal, a much-needed goal for the Bombers, his first.
I've seen guys kick it back to the guy who's got a free kick and it hasn't gone back on the full, but it's bounced back to them. Maybe they don't give you that leniency when you throw it.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe you've got to allow for little slip-ups, of course, in the rule to get abused, but not sure about that one. Heppel, he's played a lone hand here. He's up to 14 possessions. Of course, it was a bit of a free kick. Of course, he went to go for the third up, and Armitage gave that away. So the free kick in the first place was there. But
let's have a look at the throw.
Just see the throw back.
Oh, to me, that's not 50.
Ridiculous, I think.
That wasn't a 50. That was ridiculous. Heppel was still walking back, so if he hadn't walked back, he would have been able to get the ball.
And that's umpiring to maybe the exact interpretation as to the way the rule was written. Otherwise, you umpire to the feel of the game. You've got to umpire to the feel of the game, sometimes more so. Bounce of the ball. It did bounce straight back to him. But they needed something to go their way, the Bombers, and finally they did. You saw James Hird, the coach, he was reduced to a spectator for the last 10 minutes, sitting back with his arms folded. He's still sitting back with his arms folded.
Yeah, he's moved out of Kearney to the back half.
Watson. Heppel getting involved. Caught, though, with the handball. Stanton flicks it too wide for Melksham.
I've been watching Jobe Watson, and he's not 100% fit. There's no doubt in that whatsoever. His inability to break the space is non-existent at the moment. He's trying to win the hard ball, but out of this clearance, the spread just isn't there.
Stanton bangs a big bomb inside 50 to McKernan, who flies. Fisher got a hand on it. Goes to the back, and Danaher cuts it off. This would be massive. It is massive. 2 in a row to Essendon.
Well, they really needed that spot, of course. Sam Fisher made the mistake there, just coming out. Joe Danaher, good little finish there. They've scored 2 in a row. It's pretty buggered. He's put in a fair bit of hard work, the big man, to be able to get this. But you just see this by Sam Fisher. Just a bad mistake. Tried to get it to his teammates. Joe Danaher was good enough to be able to recover from the contest. Good effort here at ground level, but it was a poor handball by Sam Fisher.
Well, the biggest margin in the game was 52 points. All of a sudden, it's back to 40. We know how quickly sides can score.
They want to stay switched on here, the St Kilda players, through to half-time.
Yeah. They've got just over 4 minutes to do that. It's socket off the ground, down towards a right half forward. The race is on. Bagley over Rana.
Yeah, tripped.
Loney.
Well, Batley was trying to get the ball, and the unfortunate part about it, Loney's legs were there, so the desperation.
I thought he was first to the ball there, Spud. Yeah, that's a hard one.
That should have been 50, boys, given the adjudication at the other end. A little bounce pass.
What about that kick? That kick went about 4 metres. Key
to Nunes. The Jacks of the Saints combining in towards half forward. Riewoldt was the target, unable to take it cleanly. Kavanagh under the pump. He's taken to ground and they swarm all around him. He's going nowhere.
Well, what do you do in that situation, Spud?
No, I think the letter of the law, it was there, but again, just having a feel for the game, under pressure, I thought Bagley did everything that was required of him.
Goddard was the third man up. Stephen, sensational worker. Robertson tries to get through, but he was unsuccessful. It's bounced towards the forward line, and Dempsey sees it defensively over from behind. Back into play, Zaharakis. Around the body he goes, towards a quiet Stanton, who couldn't take the mark. Geary was the effective spoiler. Geary takes the hand pass from Savage. Drifts play in towards the middle. Longer now. Sweeping hand pass to Armitage. Armo caught from behind.
Well, he must have got a toenail on it.
Oh, just. The McKernan hand pass to Bagley is okay. Hurley's got it on the outer side. The Bombers trying to mount something. Kick is a poor one. Going to be chopped off. And it's Dylan Robertson who does chop it off, and he finds his skipper at half back.
Well, he had to hit Nick O'Brien. Nick O'Brien was 10 metres in front of Robertson then and just kicked it straight to Robertson.
But do you feel the door's open for Essendon here? 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes left to half-time. They've got the momentum. They've kicked the last 2 goals. Big opportunity here to keep the door open. Loney tucked up against the boundary. Already kicked a miracle. And just cut off by Melksham. And that was through.
Jeez, he's lively, Spud. This young fella, Jack Loney.
Can they capitalise here? Kavanagh goes wide. And again, they turn it over. O'Brien was the man he was after. Robertson pokes it inboard. Armitage stands under it. Oh, good pluck.
What a great contested mark.
He's good in the air.
Another one inside the forward 50. Yeah. As you said, Loney's had 6 disposals inside St Kilda's forward 50. Really dangerous.
This guy's been much improved, taking himself to another level into the elite midfielder category now, Spud. David Armitage. What I like is he can mark. He's very good above his head as well, Dwayne.
He was picked 9, 2006 draft. Draft that gave us Gibbs, Boat, Selwood, Jack Riewoldt. It's been a good draft and he's been outstanding as a pick 9. Kavanagh cuts it off. Still maybe some momentum to be changed here. Jack Merritt to Zaharakis. Can they finish with one more? A string of 3 in a row, the Bombers. Melksham back to Heppel. Corral.
Great defence.
Shrug, Stephen. Good pressure on the kick, though. And it finds its target on the outer side. Crowd roaring. We're down to 1:11.
Bagley in the middle.
Got Hooker out this side if he sees him.
Got to give it off, and he does. Hooker is the man, and he's got it just forward of the wing. Time if they're good enough. Hibberd, Stanton. Stanton to Heppel. Heppel's inside 50. Goes for home and gets the goal. Bombers on the way back, maybe.
That's their best passage of play for the day, the Bombers. They've taken the game on. You can see Alden Richardson, the frustration just doesn't allow. Essendon have got a little bit of mini momentum going into half-time, and it was really good break into space, and the run from Stanton. Yeah. The risk was high, but high reward to Heppel, and he's been their best player, Heppel. He's been absolutely outstanding. 4 tackles, 18 disposals. He's kicked 2 goals, so St Kilda need to put some heat into him now.
You can feel it in the house at the moment. You can feel the Bombers and their fans believe in themselves for the first time in advance. They don't want another one. They don't want to leak one in this closing 43 seconds.
Yeah, it's Dempster rolling back behind the play, so he reads the play really well in the air.
Longer scrambles it. Schneider playing in front. Over the top, the looping handball. Armitage to Loney from 48, and that would have been huge.
What I really liked there, Dwayne, was Nick Riewoldt was able to get all the St Kilda forwards back around the Essendon loose man. It created space at the front of the centre square there. St Kilda midfielders identified that, and they were able to get the good clearance, run straight out the front there. Could have almost kicked a goal, Loney just missed, but it was really good organisation ahead of the ball. Good leadership, good captaincy by Nick Riewoldt.
Hurley from the back pocket down the line. towards Danaher, but Longler's marks in front of him. Billy might have to get a wriggle on here. There's only 13 seconds and counting down. He gives it off to Roberton. Roberton goes into the pocket. Has he gone too far? That's Heppel at the back. He's been very good for the Bombers. He's tried his heart out as the siren sounds and halts a mini Bomber comeback. But they've still got a long way to go. At one stage trailing by 52. They now trail by 37 points at the long break. It is 10-8 to 5 goals, 1. 68 plays, 31. But an excellent first half by St Kilda. David Armitage leading the way, and he's with David King. Kingy?
Well, fantastic first half of football. Don't worry about the numbers.
You know, it's disappointing to let him have those late 2 or 3 goals, but we feel that the plan we've executed is to get after him with our tackle.
Pressure's good, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, and that's the that's the element of our game that has been really good. So we'll keep to look at going.
19 in the first half, mate. Go and have a spell.
He's been fantastic, David Armitage. He jogs to catch up with the group.
Two teams met in round 5. No Collier, no Carlisle in this one here, whereas in round 5, Carlisle kicked 4. And Riewoldt playing for the Saints in this one as well, and he wasn't playing for the Saints in round 5. That was a 2-point game. Right now it's a 37-point margin, but it was back in at the Bombers. But they need a couple of lifting players, and one of them is probably Jobe Watson.
Yeah, we've been on Jobe Watson watch for the first half, Dwayne, and just his inability to spread. And you have a look at the fact of his disposals. He only had the 4, no clearances, and 3 contested possessions. Look, he's had some tackles, but the ability to find an easy ball for mine, I don't think he's 100% fit. It's great that he's starting in the middle of the ground. He looks bereft of confidence at the moment. I'm not sure, Brownie, whether it's due to carrying an injury. And all we can commentate on is what he's done out in the ground today, but it's been substandard.
It has been substandard, and he's losing his feet a lot, isn't he? Sparta, he's in there. He just doesn't have the same Watson, though. But a lot of the prime movers for Essendon in the midfield have really struggled. You know, Goddard's only had 4. Zaharak has only 6, Merritt 6, whereas probably the least.
So he's really brought his teammates into the game. He's had 4 score involvements. So normally something happens when Snyder gets the ball.
So here we go, the second half, and it's the Saints. Merritt from 52 metres pulls it back. There was some holding on going on there. Was Hooker held? No, said the umpire. Bomber fans don't like it. Picked up and snapped across the. Happy with that treatment, Brownie.
Let's have a look at it, Brownie.
Probably should have been a free kick. The initial one was there by Gilbert. There's a lot of hanging on there. I'm not sure what Spud's doing down there at St Kilda, teaching those illegal tactics.
That's good grappling, mate. That's called grappling without hanging on.
Oh, yes.
Roberton short to Webster. And they're away once again.
Give me a spell, Spud.
Fisher. Good to see him back to Farron Ray, or even shorter to Roberton. He does, and he'll find Ray. Tucked in the back pocket. Named after a country and western singer. Interested. Longer. Couldn't complete the mark. Gilbert. Hand pass partly smothered. Cooney makes sure that it just wanders over the line.
Got time for you to hum a few bars here, Alexander.
Well, at least Jobe Watson's tackled well. As you see, Gilbert playing his 3rd game.
Want to try and hang on to our viewers.
Back into play. Longer with the palm down. Step by.
Finally thought it was out.
Yep. Ball in. McKernan doing hard work in the ruck. That was thrown almost.
Just piling themselves on top of the pack, making sure the ball remains in there. Hands up. Who's a ruck?
There's a lot of Essendon numbers around, but if they do win the ball, the Bombers,
Bruce going across the face, and Joey Montagna.
I was just about to say, if they do win the ball, the Bombers, you look up, you've got Dempster, Roberton, Fisher as well. So they need to chain this out with hands, the Bomber, which plays into St Kilda.
Ball. Only one went up and only one came down. That was Jimmy Webster.
That's exactly what there's always going to be an outnumbered situation, and Webster's man had gone into the clearance, so he did.
Ball is, so do need to use short hands.
31st game for Jimmy. He kicks from 42 metres, and he kicks truly an important goal to start the.
I think Jimmy Webster's going to be a very good player. He's and you see here the clearance, and
have a look at Nick Rewell too here.
Yeah, and look at Jimmy Webster there behind them. He's a beautiful foot pass, Jimmy Webster. It was never in doubt that was going for a goal, just a matter of how accurate. He's one of the best kicks in the AFL already, Jimmy Webster. Beautiful left foot.
Been a strength to finish off the goals well today, St Kilda. 19 scoring shots to 7. It's been a real demolition by the Saints so far.
Uncontested possessions already this quarter, 12-0. Just the lack of spread for the Bombers is non-existent.
McKernan gets his own clearance. Robertson feeds it back. Dempster at the back option. And Geary short. Savage just the required 15. Webster there. Initially, he just said play on.
You just had to get off the mark there, Jimmy Webster.
Sure why the umpire screamed play on. That was ball from the outset. Then he changed his mind.
You heard you, Dwayne.
No. Heads wide. There's a few Bomber fans screaming for it as well. Hooker! Did he take on the tackler there?
It was a really good tackle. Good. Yeah. Don't he had any prior. Jack Nunes here. Yeah, there's no prior.
Yeah, sometimes if you try the fend off rather than get the handball out.
Didn't quite get the fend off, though. So, yes, if he had got the fend off into the chest, I agree with you, Dwayne.
Armitage travels, hunted down from behind. Just got it off in time. Geary.
St Kilda coming out of their defence. They use up the short hands, showed a lot more composure, whereas Essendon just bombing.
He's going to get him eventually, who gives it to Ross. Back to Riewoldt. Little left foot chip is going to be okay. And Schneider takes the mark. He just pops it over the top. That's barely the required distance as well, but it's going to be paid to Armitage.
Seb Ross just in behind Armitage. He's had a very good game also. He's had the 14 disposals. Had the hamstring repaired in the pre-season. Missed.
Sandy, that set play to the top of the goal square when players look like they're about to have a shot at goal. Becoming more prevalent in the AFL.
Oh, here's trouble. Seb Ross, great intercept. Up Montagna over the top as well. The umpire letting it go. Well, now Cooney storms in there and he makes sure that Jack Sinclair is going nowhere.
That wasn't St Kilda pressure. That was just referred pressure there. Got to hit the target.
Montagna was the one who got it out. And he's still in there burrowing away, but Hibbard and co securing the lockdown. And a pretty barren half of the ground at the Lloyd end, the Bombers' scoring zone. And it was very barren up until 5 or 6 minutes before half-time. There's a snap in towards full forward, and it's Gwilt who sees it over in opposition to Josh Bruce. So Hurley to bring it back into play.
Stunned Essendon home game crowd here. Heads wide. McKernan up early. 2 hands on it. Zach Merritt. Stanton. Geary.
Sometimes you can't get any purchase on the board. Just use your...
So against Dempsey.
Billy Longer.
Billy Longer's kick.
Well, if it was there, it was there, I suppose.
Well, short, you do occasionally see a warning and seem to give one then. Ross, Robertson, Geary.
There's that support again.
Dempster, Riewoldt running hard, gets there.
Well, that's exactly what you talked about, Brown, at the start of this third quarter. It looked like the Saints are under pressure, but they've always got a get-out kick or release handball, and they're ball to give if they are under pressure.
Just buys them a little bit extra time. It also buys the forwards time to get into position, like Riewoldt, time to get off his man. End up matched up against Steinberg here.
For a 49-point margin, and the young kid Riewoldt, he looks the goods.
Yes, that young kid who's played 14 years, Nick Riewoldt, and he still is running like a young kid. We see Dempsey, the tongue lashing on the way past to the umpire. The umpire was straight onto it, and fair enough, there the rules. We see the work rate. Nick Riewoldt down to the top of your screen there, just working hard. And this is where in the second half it gets closer to goal.
636 career goals.
And kicking a lot better at goal this year too, I believe. Sandy's got a much simpler technique.
Bit of anger down here at the boundary level. Adam Cooney sub.
Interesting. 10-minute mark of the third term, and the Brownlow medalist benched. Saints again through Stephen and Savage.
On the spread, that
real sub and Melcham's crook.
Gwilt marks. Riewoldt certainly not on his own there. Down the line he goes. Robertson got a hand to that, but Merritt was quick to recover, but only for a moment. It's turned over once more now. Joey Montagna's on centre wing. Has a look down. Riewoldt. This time he's in front of Gwilt. can't complete the mark, but he paddles the ball towards Montagna. He keeps it in play to Armitage. Armitage is claimed, but he gets boot to ball. Wobbles it towards the 50. Saints somehow managing to maintain possession. Stephen takes on a couple after getting it from Jack Loney. Short little pass. Well, that was only about 8 metres. Ross, hurriedly, high ball into the pocket. Smashed down towards Riewoldt. Riewolt's hand pass in towards the square. Not enough red, white and black there at the moment, and it's all going to be locked up. Memory was the only one, and he was claimed.
Well, you can see St Kilda there just taking the tackle on, Brownie. That's a sign of confidence. Armitage and Memory in those contested balls.
Here's an opportunity for Armitage. The left foot snap goes across the face. Centering ball, we'll give him the benefit of the doubt. Zaharakis gets the hand pass away. Put his teammate under a ton of pressure. Zaharakis goes again. Bagley also. Kavanagh is in there. Trying to get clear. Was he taken high? Yes, said the umpire. He'll get a free kick.
They're like a pack of wild dogs, the St Kilda players at the moment. They are all over the Essendon players. Their reaction to defence has been terrific when they do turn the ball over.
Well, in the forward half, St Kilda have already had 12 tackles. Sorry, in their forward 50. That's the average. So that is just hunger.
It's unravelling here. This whole season is unravelling for...
Decision should have gone. Riewoldt was on here, but he had 5 metres. Riewoldt not too happy.
They just can't get the ball out of here.
David King.
Dwayne, they just can't get the ball out of here. We just saw in the half-back flank a moment ago, Melksham involved in a big clash. He's really struggling out there. Brave there. But they just can't get inside 50s. 3 for the quarter, 3 in 12 and a half minutes.
Melksham can't run.
Look at the numbers here. Montagna, the lead is on. Memory takes them up.
Killed a wall. Unfortunately for Essendon, they've got no players within that wall to break it up. And as you say, they're just queuing up. Savage was sensational. Savage is probably the best kick at St Kilda. We've seen here what a finish it was. It's a difficult kick across the body, but made it look so easy. Well done. The pressure, fantastic.
Today, St Kilda 13-9, and James Hird might be a fingernail or two short come tonight.
Beauty about St Kilda's score at the moment too. The 13 goals have had 9 different goal scorers, so pretty hard to defend against.
Crutch, again the commitment. Biggest margin of the game right now, 55. And they've put their foot down again here, the Saints. Longer. Nunes. Ray. Schneider's short. He ignores that option. Fisher. The grubber, Loney. Tried to make it look okay. Riewoldt. Handball smothered by Gleeson. Schneider flicks it up. Trouble again here. Forward pocket. Rolling ball. And Sinclair jumped on.
Oh, geez, he's a bit unlucky not to get a free kick. What St Kilda are doing really well, Spud, is they share the ball. They give it to the player who's in free space instead of just bombing into their forward 50.
Been their problem. 7 effective scoring shots to 22 at the moment. That's where it heads now. He used the body nicely and legally. The hand pass over the top is going to be okay. And finally, goal.
Really good use of the body from Melksham then. Really good kick, weighted kick in his favour. But the key to this kick from Zaharakis was the body use from Melksham. Protected the hooker keeps running. That is a great team goal, but started from the terrific body work from Melksham there. One of the few times you see St Kilda beaten one-on-one in the air at ground level, but well done, Jake. His Essendon's win the ball out of the centre, but it hasn't created in shots at goal.
Thinking to do there, and he didn't quite think about the bounce coming back to him. Savage. The 1-2 works. O'Brien thought about going, and he does go.
Well, it was too shallow. When you got Bruce and Riewoldt deep, you could have went to one option there. You don't want to bite off too much when you're going forward and give Essendon the option.
Windelick out. Watson was crunched, no free.
Did he have it long enough? I thought he nearly did.
Up and go. Open space ahead. Players on the open side. Schneider looks up, realises that now, and heads there. Montagna tried to shake and bake on Gleeson. Got it to Loney. Puts it to the pocket. Nunes.
Well, it was great running from Nunes from the wing.
Inside to Weller.
Well, that's what the Riewoldt factor, isn't it? Riewoldt leads out, opens up the hole, Brownie.
It's great play by Riewoldt. Of course, we know he would have been trying to get the football, but it was probably unlikely, but he still led anyway, Spud. And by leading, creates a big vacuum behind
They can't go with them, Brownie.
Can't go with them.
Can't go with them down the ground. They're just putting them to the sword. This overlap handball game is forcing Essendon to defend every possession, and they simply can't.
So 19 minutes gone, third term. And the Bombers' chances of a late comeback slipping away by the second. And Weller to push this margin out to the equal biggest margin of the game. 55 points.
Snuck through beautifully there. Good finish by Weller. 16-6. The mark's inside 50. That's an absolute demolition in St Kilda's favour. We see Watson here. Back at Nunes. Creates a big hole behind him, and Weller identifies that, leads into it. Really smart play and unselfish running by Riewoldt for mine.
The other pleasing thing for the Saints is they now have 10 individual goals.
He's the dominant forward. He's the dominant forward, but you need to spread it.
Well, let Weller deserve that goal. He's had 6 tackles in the forward half of the Saints.
Here's Heppel. Can the Bombers reply?
He's really worked on that aspect of his game. The ability to hit the target by foot.
Riewoldt short. Finding new. Almost 20 minutes gone in this third term.
Ross.
Really ordinary pressure.
Can't get anything going. That typifies it. The turnover there. Meldrum couldn't do it. Montagna's pass is good. And James Hird is beside himself.
Just has eyes on the ball instead of watching the hips. And just read the cues beautifully there. Knowing that the Essendon player was going to kick the ball. Smothered it beautifully. And like all
from the first. One in the second. He's 40 metres out. And he guides that through for number 4.
Doesn't matter what type of talent you got in your forward 50. If you've got work rate with tackles, as we said, they've had 16 tackles inside their forward 50. But then you see that smothering effort from Loney. We know he's terrific with his ball use, his ability to find a target.
But when you're the big forward, to be very happy with it, because as you identified before, Spud, that's how you do get easy, uncontested. Have a look at the Essendon fans. They are dejected.
The guy in the middle there with the hand on his chin, he's very despondent.
Yeah.
Marks inside forward 50 already this quarter, 6-1.
They might not have hit rock bottom yet, Howler, because they're going to drop down another spot on the ladder with Saints going past them at this rate.
I think the story's Watson out of the Bombers for mine. He's now playing at full forward and
slow to react there.
He is.
All the Essendon players have been slow to react on defence, even before Melksham when he got the ball.
Down to the bottom, wooden spoon last year, and they're on the way back now, Bruce.
What you love is their effort, Dwayne. It's been consistent all season.
Montagna drives a wobbler inside 50. Heppel floats in, not the mark though. Gathers his own crop. Hibbert. And he heads to Danaher in some space finally.
Great Essendon full forward of yesteryear has been his goal-kicking coach. Was working well early in the season, but his confidence been knocked around a little bit lately.
Oh, it should be just a lay down really from this area of the ground.
You can tell by his teammates keep leading for him as if to say, we know you're iffy, do you want to give it to me?
That's just scraped in for a point.
His teammates had no confidence in him whatsoever then.
He's starting to think about the end result, isn't he? He'd be going back, those big sticks that look like there's only about a metre between them. You can't go back in front of goal and there think, oh, I don't want to miss, I don't want to miss. You need to go back and think about the process.
Just the lack of covering that mark there from Webster. You can't allow a free player 40 metres out directly from your goal.
Jimmy's kick to Geary, who bounces his way across centre wing, and they go charging.
Of the ball, he's been playing half forward, but he's had the 6 tackles.
They're really good attacking players, come off half back for opposition teams, so it is really handy if you do have a good defensive half forward, if you want to call it that can shut down the opposition half back, but also hit the scoreboard themselves, make good aerial lead.
Directly in front, 40 metres out, and he's done it. They let
play last week. I thought they would have built on their form against Hawthorn, especially in the first half, Brownie. I thought they were terrific last week.
They got their zip back last week.
Haven't seen any of it today. Haven't seen any of that whatsoever. This is the run and support again. St Kilda have always had the get-out kick, and a beautifully weighted kick over the top of O'Brien allowed Weller to take a contested mark. And more importantly, 11-point turnaround, because Joe Dano misses the goal at one end, goes straight down the other end for a goal. What we don't see there on Mav Weller's stats, we can see disposals. What you don't see is his man and create a hurried possession for the Bombers. Can't be underrated.
3 minutes left in the quarter. Ray surging forward again. Riewoldt on the march, sprints, gets.
1 metre, thank you.
And in the last 4 or 5 steps, he sprinted away from his man then. Steinberg thought he was with him.
He's looking for an uncontested mark, or Josh Bruce deep.
Hits the spot that he likes it to, and Hooker drops back. So Hooker's experiment forward may be over.
Look at that.
Cut off to Fisher. Zone.
It's amazing at the moment, boys. 11 Essendon players have had less than 10 possessions late in the third quarter. In this modern day of high possessions.
Geary, Plutton. Hurley tries to smash it away. Goddard flies, and it'll be hurting Goddard more than any Essendon player watching the Saints play like this.
On the way up, and Dwayne talked about that pre-game, and Essendon on the way down. So we could see just a change of the guard with these two teams.
Farron Ray had a snap, and there's another. Armitage gets his first goal and becomes the 11th goal kicker.
11th goal kicker, really good. 29 possessions again just before three-quarter time. He's been just more on their toes. Quicker to react. They've got the perimeter of the stoppages. The clearances, 31 to 26. It's been a demolition around the source of the ball.
He's had a terrific year, David Armitage. As you see, disposals in this third quarter, he's already had 10.
Ball is touched as Gilbert backs into the pack. Fisher's hand pass to Dempster is okay. Off to Robertson. The Saints out of trouble again. To the half-back line. Ray takes the mark.
There's no need to hurry here, St Kilda. You can see that the St Kilda overs.
1 minute remaining for the quarter. It's another winning quarter for the Saints. A throw in on the outer wing. Riewoldt was the third man up. Merritt left it for Heppel. He kicks in towards half forward. There's a couple of choices there. Goddard or Danaher. The former took it, gave it off to Hibbert, who's a long kick. Hibbert goes from 55, and he's made no mistake. Hibbert gets his first, and the Bombers get their 7th.
Yeah, he's the only player that's looked likely in the forward half. He hasn't had a lot of the ball. I think that was only 11th or 12th possession. But when he has got the ball in that forward half, he's been able to hit forward targets, or in this case, finish the goal off really well. It's a really positive ball movement. Goddard only his 7th possession for the whole day there. Nice kick there by Hibbert. Nice finish, straight over the goal umpire's hat. And memory early on, they put him back onto a smaller opponent at Gunston last week. So he's had to play on the taller opponents the last couple of weeks.
The way they're playing the Saints, they've got a massive upside as this season continues. Let this be a smashing. Loney, it's headed in that direction. Down to 15. Watson feeds it back. Bunch, good tackle. There's the pressure. Turnover. Dempster. Three-quarter time. Etihad Stadium, Essendon home game, and the Bomber fans are stunned. A relentless St Kilda of the last change. A monster.
Now, correct, Wayne King. It's all about finding a way, and the game is done and dusted.
Another thing to look at too, Sputter, is there's only been 14 free kicks paid for the whole day. That shows a lack of intensity, lack of aggressiveness at the contest by the Essendon players.
Yeah, the game and the spread, that's been the big one for mine. We know St Kilda have won the contested ball, but the ability to gut run is just as important to win the hard ball in today's modern game, and their inability to spread today has been really disappointing. I'll have to throw that up again.
Yeah, horrible bounce to start it. This is already, as Fisher comes off for a rest, this is already the Saints' biggest score of the year. So we've still got another quarter to go, and this is the way it's looking going to be. 50, crunch. Membry taken down. Bruce, he's had a good day at the office. Can he get a toe on it? Oh! Not quite. And Weller was the man whose boot finally found some leather. Crunched his way into the post behind.
Again, numbers to the ball. You just see Weller, I thought he was going to get into it.
Yep.
Or just on the outside of his foot. He got on the inside, it was a goal.
Gwilt brings it back. McKernan was a flyer, but so too was Billy Longer. And he beat him. Montagna not 15 to Dempster, so from a standing start he goes long and direct in towards the top of the square. Bagley almost decapitated, and he'll take the free kick.
One of the few errant tackles the St Kilda forward half have made today. The intent was there, just not the execution from Membry.
Tim Membry just a little enthusiastic. So McKernan once again is a target. This time they find him. Puts it mark. So they switch play to the outer side. They've got Gilbert and Geary there. It's the former who picks it up now. Loves that left foot. Guides it down towards the orange boots. Finds Big Billy. Deft little chip hasn't paid off here. Schneider goes back to Riewoldt. This time on the left foot. It passes three. It opens the door for Melksham, who gets through some heavy traffic to Howlett. Sub, who came on early on in the third quarter.
Tackle again.
Melksham had a fresh air shot. Riewoldt, another little chip.
But Mav Weller's tackle. He was the one that caused the turnover, and
many people thought he was anything but the hero when they met in that earlier round, when he missed that easy shot. Now he's going to give them over a 70-point lead if he's straight here. And he is.
Well, he would have known that. Adam Snyder, Sandy, back all their forward line players have. But there's the Weller tackle. That's the one that.
Weller's had half a dozen tackles. Most of those would have been in the forward 50, and that's where St Kilda have really improved on this year.
73 points the margin. The biggest win ever by the Saints in their history of clashes with Essendon is 108. They're heading toward three figures the way they're travelling. Longer, that was a poor ball up, and we've had a few recalled this year.
Time to get rid of the bounce, I think, except for the start of the game, Dwayne.
Or maybe start at quarters, Brownie, but I'm with you. Once the quarters started, let's just toss it in the air. Hibberd stripped of it. Howlett dives in. You see Dunstan, the sub, now on for the Saints, so he gets his chance. Watson finally breaks free. Zaharakis, Hibberd, Hooker.
He's tried hard, Hooker. He has. Forward of the ball. He hasn't had a lot of opportunity. Of course, he's playing in a foreign position. Howlett looks a bit sore there. He's had a few injury problems today. A few of the boys are banged up, the Essendon boys, but Hooker's tried hard. He did get thrown back into defence momentarily late in that first quarter when the St Kilda forwards were really causing problems for the Essendon defence, but majority of these days was spent down forward.
And as David King told us earlier, already got a career best of 2 goals, sprays that, and Long has played some sort of game as well.
No, he has. That's his 5th mark from opposition kicks, so he's growing in stature every week, Billy Longer.
That's what you want from your big ruckman, be able to contribute in the aerial contest.
He's getting the right spot, so there's still some upside.
Sam Gilbert switches play. Ooh. Normally, he's very good on that left foot. That was threatening. It made it almost difficult for Dempster. But he marks and goes down the line to Geary. Just right down towards centre wing. Steinberg tried to get it out. The young bomber. Well inside 50. Seb Ross and Riewoldt, and it's the latter who'll go back and kick for number 3.
Really good vision there from Seb Ross. He just had a look and thought, I'll just let the skipper have rite of passage here.
And stretch St Kilda's lead.
Very good, and this is where we've seen so many times in the past over Nick Riewoldt's career, he gets to cash in late in games, gets goals late because he works so hard in the first half of games and quite often spends time up in the back half, Spud, running his man around. You see Michael Hurley hanging on for dear.
Howell up there on the Ben Howell. Just have a look at the injury there, just upended by Schneider. It's a legal bump, so just was unaware of the contact there. But have a look at that. Marks.
Puts it high, Membry feeds back. Knocked away from Steinberg. Gleeson, handball into space. Dempsey. Hibbert. We almost played on there. Faked the handball but didn't take the step. Goddard. Oh, play on. Just not cleared by Dempster.
Still a chance.
Loney. Knocked it to his own advantage. Taken down by Dempsey.
It was like a bowling ball. Dempsey? I think it was a strike.
Still Bruce looking for a 5th. Sidestepped a couple. Already.
As we look at here, Jack Loney. Yeah, it was a strike.
Yeah, it was. Bruce is good at ground level as well. He's got plenty of energy.
We're out to an 80-point margin. Question Brownie with a couple of minutes' notice. Where does James Hird go from here, and where does Essendon go from here?
He'll be under pressure, Sandy, if this form continues on for the rest of the season.
Merritt to centre wing.
Tell you what, if they lose to Melbourne next week after losing by this kind of margin to the Saints, there'll be some questions asked, surely.
Gilbert and Dempster both keep it in towards Montagna. Gives it off quickly to Robertson. Robertson checks his vision and flicks it round the body. That was superbly done. And now an opportunity for the sub in Luke Dunstan, the young boy from Clare in South Australia, to go back.
Big game, Dylan Robertson. 26 disposals, used the ball extremely well. And just time and space just to deliver that ball. Dempster's handball in the middle of the ground.
Back that, he's now kicked 8. And they're just racking up the goal kickers, the Saints.
Really good spread of goal kickers today, Spud. What I've liked about the St Kilda forward, good ball movement, they've really good chemistry and a really good understanding of where each other is. 13 separate goal kickers. They've taken 20-odd marks inside.
Not sure Alan Richardson will be more pleased with the 22 marks inside their forward 50 or the 17 tackles inside their forward 50. I think he'd be pretty happy with both, I would have thought, Brownie.
Howlett breaks away from the middle. Spears the pass, hoping for O'Brien. Dempster rides him a little. Farron. First time this year, the Saints, 2011, 131. It'll be their biggest. He's ticking the boxes. And every time you appoint a coach, you never body nicely and only a behind.
The one indicator you look for, Spud, is the effort. Good for a young team.
And I don't think you can account for the fact of experience now to be a really good senior coach. I'm not saying first-timers, but experience of Alan Richardson for 20 years being assistant, coached his own team to premierships in the Suburban League and then come through the Tigers, the Bulldogs, Collingwood, Port and Carlton and Essendon. So he's had great experiences.
Here's Merritt going back in towards goal, and Hooker will mark and goal, and he does.
Well, the St Kilda defenders all looking around. Gilbert was the directed partner. Now he came out and he was looking for a chop out from one of his teammates. That'd be pretty disappointing. As Hooker, the experiment, you could say it's worked. They've only had the 33 inside 50s, the Bombers. You see Gilbert there chasing. He's looked up and saw his direct opponent in Hooker on his own. So it's probably one of the few times St Kilda didn't have a fronting defence.
Yeah, look, he's worked hard too. He's given him an option coming out of defence. He's tried hard.
But the Saints with an absolute stranglehold on this game. They've got the Giants next week. Out of the middle. Merritt claimed, goes to ground, has the ball stolen. Weller. Nice little piece of footwork, gets clear and then goes long. Beautifully done. Armitage somehow got around Dempsey, took a sensational diving mark, and will go back now and kick for his second goal.
Yeah, what a great use of the body, Dave Armitage, and instead of resting on the bench, go forward and just out-muscle Dempsey on that.
33 disposals, Spud, 16 kicks, 17 hand passes. Another memorable performance by David Armitage, the boy from Mackay in Queensland. Saints roll on.
I think his improvement this year coincides with the same.
That big bull.
Yeah, he does.
He's lost 5 kilograms, but he still looks big and burly. Big body midfielders, they're worth their weight in gold in September, and I'm sure St Kilda will be getting to September very soon over the next few years. But he can also throw those big.
That's some sort of game.
Yeah. The thing about David Armitage now, you know what you're going to get when you go to a game of football. Just an honest effort and at the coalface.
Stolen out of the middle by Sinclair. He's stalking the goals as well. Runs to 50, drives it long. It's party time. Bring out the hundreds and thousands sandwiches. How good's this to watch, Saints fans?
Out of the centre. I really thought he ran too far for mine, but it was a magnificent goal. Just taking the game on. I think Alan Richardson now giving his youngsters a go in the middle of the ground.
Have a look at the St Kilda forwards up the top of the screen there. They've all pulled back. So they've cleared the front of the centre square there, Spud. Allows the midfielder to run forward, in this case Sinclair. He identified that, kept running, ran his full distance.
Well, we learn something every day. Dwayne's a fan of hundreds and thousands, eh?
He certainly is. And it's interesting when you've got Carl Hooker now dropping back in the high back.
Bruce having a run on the ball, and Sinclair decides to send them into attack once again, overrun by Nunes. Steinberg's hand pass okay initially, but it's moving like a pinball at the moment. Hibberd, Heppel, they're having real trouble getting out, and they won't yet. Heppel's got to go again. He's claimed by Dunstan, ripped to the ground, loses the football. Jack Stephen leaves it for Schneider. Schneider steadies, goes onto the left boot, kicks it high and misses to the left. One behind.
Another example of St Kilda's pressure to keep it in their forward half.
Brownie, it has to be said, this is embarrassing how they're succumbing here. I mean, they've kicked 22 goals, St Kilda, and they are just all over them. They're not handling the pressure that St Kilda are putting to them. They're hardly a powerhouse at the moment, the Saints. This is fantastic what they're displaying today, but they're hardly a powerhouse.
Gilbert takes them on. He goes for home. Coming back, Kingy. They're not getting blown away by a great team. They're getting blown away by the team that finished last 8-point lead. And their biggest ever win over Essendon is 108. Their biggest ever goal tally against Essendon is 24. They've now got...
This has been unbelievable. The Wolves will be at the door, at Essendon's door this week. This cannot continue. Nearly 100 points now. Yes, the distinct lack of effort by the Essendon players. Senior players have been poor all day today as well. It's got to be questions asked now, King.
There's no doubt in that. They're just being lacklustre, listless. As we see Nick Riewoldt coming off the ground. He's fourth.
4 goals to Nick Riewoldt. Gets a standing ovation as he leaves the ground.
Second to only the great Gary Dempsey in marks taken. Just overtaking his Stuart Lowe, who was a powerhouse for the Saints through the 80s and 90s.
38,020 here today, and I tell you what, a lot of them came wearing red and black, and a lot of them have already left the stadium.
Just on those marks, Sandy, another 300 marks. That's probably a good 2 seasons. Nick Riewoldt's probably got 2 seasons left in him, especially if St Kilda keep improving and he eyes a finals opportunity over the next couple of years, Spud.
No, and you see the growth of these youngsters. He's going to make sure they grow with him, because the clock is ticking on his career. But yeah, if the team goes well, the longer he can play.
Well, and when you think of players like Paddy McCartan, just waiting in the wings, Hugh Goddard in the middle of, and he does, gives it across to Weller. They're out of trouble. Savage to Montagna. Joey's got it on half-back, and he'll go backwards. Switching play. Offensive 50 line towards centre wing. It's got to be a free kick to Armitage. Dempsey wasn't very subtle. Armitage picks up yet another disposal. Goes backwards to Robertson. Off to Savage. How easy is that? As Bruce is on the end of it. Hurley looks towards the heavens as if to say, what on earth is happening, Spud?
Yeah, 3 options then. Loney, Bruce and Riewoldt. And the body language from the Bombers is deplorable. There's still, you're a professional footballer, there's still 8.5 minutes left on the clock. A couple of them need to go back and play where Michael Hurley has, I think, because he marks inside forward 50, but it'll have to be getting close now. That's 25. Yeah, we'll see. Go up the ground early, then darting back. You've got Jack Loney, Riewoldt running into space between a St Kilda player and an Essendon player there.
Look at that, that's 4 on 1. And Bruce pops up with an uncontested mark. He would have thought, would have been expecting to get absolutely...
It already is a smacking. As I said, look at Josh Bruce, 37 goals for the season. What a find.
Danaher from behind Dempster, couldn't mark it. Gilbert, Robertson, Longer. Nice clean pick-up. Dunstan goes back. Geary, Montagna, Stephen. Options wherever you look at the moment. Just the required 15 to Geary. A rare fumble.
I'll tell you what is exciting, boys, when you see picks in the 30s and the 40s over the last few drafts really take giant strides forward. Jack Nunes picked 37, Webster picked 42. You got Josh Bruce, who was traded for pick 48, and Jack Loney, probably the biggest surprise of them all, pick 41. Easy to build a list when you've got that sort of strike rate.
Matt Weller done his bit today. Robertson's done his bit. With a lot of Savage on the mark. It's also done his bit. Kicked a magnificent goal earlier today to keep the momentum the Saints' way. They need one more goal for their biggest ever win over the Bombers. Biggest ever score and biggest ever win. Howlett will drive it long. Didn't have any options forward. He dangerously goes to Bruce. Steinberg just waited for it. Bruce attacked it. Hooker gets him out of trouble. Zaharakis.
In the middle of the ground. Bagley. Now he's been pinged. And the advantage is with the Saints and Geary. And Geary's away. Popping it over the top towards Sinclair. Now Ross. They're just like a line, like an army. Surging over the hill. And today they've been unstoppable. Savage. Jack Stephen is a target. Centre wing, Membry. Well, tried to be a little too fancy there, but has time to recover. Give it to Roberton, who kicks down towards right half forward. They've been in front all day. Jack Nunes kicked a goal in the first quarter. And that's a poorly directed kick on that occasion. It's called to play on now, and well, that just epitomises Essendon's day. Just kicking into the man on the mark and finishing over the line.
Yeah, their ball use by foot, 61%, which is 5% below the average, but take nothing away from St Kilda's pressure there. They've gone at 74% by...
Tries to kick through very heavy traffic. Stephen just tries to push it forward. It finishes over the line.
A tough day for Ariel Steinberg to come in. First game of the year, just as he's been under siege from the outset. Dyson Heppel. Hibbert caught. Didn't look like a complete handball. Umpire let him off. Armitage has been sensational. Dempsey stripped of it. Still the hassling. You'd think it was the first 5 minutes of the good reach. And now they run. Bagley held up. There was 38,000 here for this Essendon. It was a packed house earlier. And they haven't been able to stomach it to the end. Zaharakis. Saints have run them ragged. Essendon have not led all day. Saints kicked the opening 2 goals of the contest and haven't looked back. Farron Ray to set it all up again for going. But even some of the Saints players who were running a lot earlier are just about cooked. Dempster. Armitage goes wide. Position 36 and dumped after it. Free kick downfield.
Regarding Nunes.
37 possessions for Armitage.
Stephen time spears it in towards the forward line. All too easy. Membry.
He's shown a bit today, Spud. Had a big start to the game. Had 6-7 possessions in the first quarter, but he's worked really hard. Of course, he plays second and third fiddle to Bruce and Rewald, but he's that good medium-sized marking forward. He's got good balance into the forward line. So 5 marks, but 9 marks been fantastic. And he's moved around really well. They've got some really classy small forwards as well, and obviously some dominant big forwards. This guy might fit into the jigsaw puzzle nicely in that St Kilda forward line.
Tim Membry kicked one early on in the day in the first quarter, 40 metres out, and they can do no wrong. So is that the record? I think it is. Membry gets his second, and the Saints rewrite the record books. Their highest score against Essendon and their biggest margin.
Not only that, Sandy, I think it's ability to find time, and there's no doubting that. Have a look at the plot here, Brownie. A lot of them in the corridor, not many wide.
It's a big one. Kingy maybe the man. Kingy at short notice. What is the all-time record for marks inside 50? Do you know off the top of your head?
That is short notice.
I'll help you out, Kingy, with the fact that...
I doubt that it's ever got to the 30s, Brownie, put it that way.
Kingy, the record this year is 23.
Yeah, by Hawthorn.
Yep, so the Saints have now got 26, so they'll be in the top 10, there's no doubting that.
Kicks to half forward, Gleeson cuts it off, nice saving mark.
Go against Geelong.
I'm not sure they'll boo, but they might be a little restless.
I think they're stunned one.
Good, if there's any here, of course. Turnover.
Well, it's going to be the story of the week out of the round, really. The on-field story is Essendon's, I suppose, the demolition of Essendon today. Where do they go to from here? We know they've got quite a few key injuries, but this doesn't excuse him from the effort and the performance today, Spud.
Well, that won't be much respite at the selection table because we know Belchames is out for 10 weeks, Carlisle out for 6, Collier 4 to 6, so Fletcher's a chance, but there's not much else other than that at the selection table.
Saints to go forward again through Jack Loney, finding Bruce. He's one of 13 goal kickers the Saints have so far today. Montagna spears a pass, but the spoil was effective. It drops down towards Hibberd.
It's a good spoil.
He goes short to Zaharakis, back to Hibberd. Look out! Bang!
It's that handball forward again. The Saints have just preyed on that.
Jobe Watson just can't get into the game. There's something wrong there. He's had 7 disposals for the game, and that is most un-Jobe-like.
Good decision there for the
Nunes
umpire.
ducked.
Yeah,
So
really good decision. I reckon they've adjudicated that well the last month, the umpires.
Zaharakis played on to Gleeson.
Brown, he just did a little bit of homework for you. The highest marks inside 50 in a game since 2003 is 38.
Wow.
Oh,
We knew you'd come good, King.
You did too.
Against the Auskids
That's a
side,
grand
right?
effort. He's sitting down there with his laptop.
Who wasn't Kingy?
Hibberd.
Don't ask too many questions, Sandy.
Hibberd, Melksham couldn't do it. Ray.
Oh, well done, both players.
Courage shown by both players.
Well done, Goddard
and Ray.
Former teammates. And less than, just over half a minute to go. Both players need to be applauded for that.
Good technique from both
great
players.
technique. Turned their body beautifully. Protected the head. And that's really good coaching from both coaches for no one to get injured in that clash. They'll both feel that after the game. I think Brendan Goddard will feel a little bit more than Farron Ray, I would have thought.
Gilbert feeds it back, dying seconds. Scramble kick, and again they've got the numbers there waiting for it. Weller takes off. Open paddock ahead, but no one in it. Had to go back to Rewalt. 15 seconds left. They are playing with them. Weller back again to Schneider.
The Essendon players just allow that. They haven't attacked the St Kilda ball player.
Geary heads wide. Membry. One last chance. Simon's about to sound on him. The biggest ever St Kilda score against Essendon and the biggest ever St Kilda win over the Bombers. 25-12, 162 to 8-4-52 and a 100 and where to for the Bombers.
Yeah, I think we'll talk the positives, Dwayne, in what's been a very sombre weekend. And I think they were really disappointed with their loss against the Bulldogs.
Spud,
Head
let's
down
go.
to David King.
Yeah.
Just might quickly grab Alan Richardson on the way out to the middle to pay our respects, as all teams have done this weekend, which has been fantastic, Richo.
It's been brilliant. I reckon the AFL do a lot of things right. This is one of them. An incredible tragedy. I reckon just shocked the footy world. And if this can mean something to his family, then it's a great thing.
Let's keep walking because you must make your way out here. We don't want to hold them up, but that was a fantastic performance today.
Yeah, no, the boys were defensive stuff. Our ability to be able to create mid-turnover and get opportunities to re-enter has been really strong, and it's certainly paid off for us tonight.
Very exciting, mate. Get out there. Thanks again for your time.
Thanks, mate.
Yeah, it's great to catch up with Alan Richardson before the tribute continues for Philip Walsh.
As we see James Hird as the losing coach, it's obviously a tough time for any coach, but when you go into a game expecting to win.
Well, good in the first half last week against Hawthorn.
they were.
It was just their set shot goal king which let them down. So what must be going through that man's mind today as well?
So players from both sides heading out towards the circle now. Utter disappointment for Essendon. As we heard earlier, almost identical stats with their opposition. They were favoured to win the game, and they put up a somewhat insipid performance to go down by 110 points. But now this crowd that remains has gathered. Everyone is standing, and once again players and fans pay their respects to the Walsh family in Adelaide. ceremony has been performed. So the players head to their respective, continue to run high. The Saints getting a standing ovation from their fans because they have recorded a 110-point victory, and in so doing have rewritten the record books in the process.